Good afternoon. Welcome and thank you for joining us here with Family Network on Disabilities. My name is Latasha Berg. I'll be your moderator today on behalf of the Family Star program, which stands for Support, Training, Assistance, and Resources. Today, we will be speaking on the fourth part of a four-part series, which is entitled Bringing the Best You the best you for your child and family. This is a fourth in the four-part series of parenting a child with mental health needs, and we hope that the information that we bring for you today will be informative. And if you have any other questions, we are only a click away. We can give you further information at the conclusion of today's presentation for you or your family or your organizations, whichever you would prefer. So we wanted to say again, welcome, thanks. And we are glad that you joined us here today with the Family Network on Disabilities. We are a family-driven and family-centered 501c3 PTI. That was a whole mouthful. PTI stands for Parent Training and Information Center for the state of Florida. We are also serving in the capacity of the Family Star program, which is our family-to-family health component, helping those families who care for loved ones with complex medical needs. Now, before we get into the presentation, we want to make a very, very clear distinction that we do not act as attorneys or doctors or either mental health professionals. The information that you receive in today's presentation cannot be deemed as medical or either legal advice. However, what we do is provide resources, information, and the support that you would need to make informed choices for your loved ones, especially those who have disabilities. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the webinar. Today's webinar will encompass this session 4. Let's go ahead and talk about the previous sessions. Session 1, parenting a child with mental health needs, was understanding your child's emotional development. Session 2, the systems that you'll engage to support your child and family. And session 3, being the best advocate for your child and family, which leads to today's session, being the best you for your child and family. So with that, there are 5 key components that we will speak to. And number 1 through 5 are these bullet points you see right here on the screen. Number 1, how to navigate being a caregiver. Number 2, recognize the signs of caregiver stress. Number 3, finding and using self-care tools. Number 4, knowing when to reach out. And finally, number 5, connecting with resources. So let's start at the top, how to navigate being a caregiver. And the thing about it is that caregiving is a constant learning experience. You see this quote here on the screen from Vivian Fraser. It's a constant learning curve. We are always evolving, always learning, and taking those experiences with us along this journey. The more you know, the less anxiety you'll feel about what that role looks like, either if it's a new role as being a caregiver, or if you're a more experienced parent or caregiver in this sense, the more effective you'll be. It helps when you know that you're not alone. It's comforting. It's very comforting to give and even receive support from others who understand exactly what it is that you're going through. And you have to remember that your family members are the people, you know them best. Don't ignore what the doctors and the specialists tell you, but you want to listen to your gut, what you feel inside too. Caregiving doesn't mean that you're doing everything, all of those things for your loved one. You want to be open to technologies and different strategies and that type of allowances for your family member to remain as independent as possible. You want to be realistic, though, about the time and all of the you can actually give. So it's a good idea to perhaps set those limits, set some boundaries, and communicate those limits to those other people who will serve in your circle, such as doctors and family members, and other people involved. So what you may feel about being a caregiver varies. There's such a large spectrum from one end to the other. Thinking in terms of what your feelings look like. Are you anxious? Do you worry a lot? Perhaps you might have anger or even resentment at times. You might feel those feelings toward the person who you're caring for, even if you don't know it's those feelings are actually there. Or you might be angry at the world just in general, or resentful of other friends or family members who don't have those same responsibilities. You may have guilt, you may have grief. Even the person that you're caring for may have those feelings as well. We want to think in terms of what our communication looks like. And even though some of our loved ones may not be able to communicate with us verbally, the body language that they emit also will tell us a lot about what the caregiving process looks like, not only for you as a caregiver, but for them as well, the people who are receiving the care. You have to remember that even as being a caregiver, you need care too. Most communities have services to help caregivers, and depending on where you live, that cost for those services may be based on your ability to pay. Even might be covered by your receiver's insurance as well. So services that may be available in your community include such ideas such as adult daycare centers, home health aides, home delivered meals, respite care if at all possible, and also transportation services and skilled nursing service. You want to learn as much as you can about your family member's illness or what their disability looks like to be able to seek out other caregivers. And at all times, trust your instincts, trust your gut, encourage your loved one's independence, but set those limits. Know what they are and set those limits for yourself. And whatever feelings you're having, accept those feelings. Really connect with your loved one and attend to those needs that you would have as well. And want to take care and be able to find those community services where you may need them. Let's talk about the next bullet point, which was caregiver stress and burnout. What does that mean? What does that look like? You see this picture here on the screen. It's the stress you feel is not only the result of your caregiving situation, but also the result of what your perception of that situation is, whether you use either a glass half full or a glass half empty mindset. It's important to remember that you are not alone in those experiences. Caregiving can be definitely an emotional roller coaster. On the one hand, you're caring for your family member, and that demonstrates your love and your commitment to them. And it can also be a rewarding and personal experience. And then on the other hand, you may be so exhausted and worry so much about resources that you might not have. And continuous care and demands can all compound the stressors that you have. Caregivers are more likely to have chronic illnesses than non-caregivers. And namely, a few of those would include like high cholesterol, a tendency to be overweight. And studies show that estimated 46% to 59% of caregivers are even clinically depressed. It gives you something to think about. Your level of stress is influenced by many, many factors. I'll list a couple of those factors for you. Whether or not your caregiving is voluntary, or you may feel that you have no choice in what those responsibilities are, chances are greater that you'll experience strain, distress, even resentment. Your relationship with the care recipient. Sometimes people care for one another with the hope of healing a relationship. And if healing doesn't occur, you may feel regret or even discouragement. Your coping abilities and how you deal with the stress in the past will predict a lot of times how you deal with it now. You want to identify your current coping strengths, so that you can build upon them. Your caregiving situation. And some caregiver situations are more stressful than others. Let's give you a quick example. Caring for a person with dementia is often more stressful than caring for someone with a physical limitation. Whether or not either one of these different types of examples fits your current narrative, remember that support is you're able to find support. Support is available for you. Managing stress, and what does that look like? Some of those symptoms that you may have from stress would be sleep deprivation, poor eating habits, failure to love the things that you once were passionate about, even not wanting to exercise or staying in bed for extended periods of time, or postponement of or failure to make appointments or other things that you would need to do for yourself. There's an increased risk of depression and excessive use of substances such as alcohol or tobacco or even other drugs. Managing that stress is going to be able to recognize what those early warning signs are. That might include those things that we just spoke about: irritability, sleep problems, forgetfulness. Knowing what those warning signs are and being and understanding that you can make changes in those different examples. Now, you want to also remember that you don't want to wait until you are overwhelmed. Identify what those sources of stresses are and ask yourself, what is causing the stress for me? Those different sources may vary as well. It might be that you have too much to do, or maybe even too little to do. You might have family disagreements or feelings of inadequacy or the simple inability to say no. And at all times, you want to identify the things that you can and the things that you cannot change. Remember, we can only change ourselves, can't change other people. And when you try to change things over which you have no control, you'll increase that sense of frustration. You want to ask yourself, is this something that I can actually change myself? And if so, what is it that I can change? Even that small change can make a huge difference. And then you take action. Taking action to reduce the stress, it gives us back that sense of control. And stress reducers can be simple activities like taking a walk or other forms of exercise, gardening, meditation, or even having a coffee with a friend or tea, whichever you would prefer. Identify what those stress reducers are and things that will work for you. And then when the crisis occurs, you want to be prepared. You should be alert to what those pre-signs were, those things that are changing within your dynamic. It can be physical changes, emotional changes, behavioral changes, changes in sleep patterns, eating, all of those different types of variances. But remember, if and when there is a crisis, being prepared will help you to alleviate that pain, alleviate those anxiety, alleviate those feelings of helplessness, and potentially alleviate injuries as well. Now, here are a list of things that you can do to prepare. Number one, you need to be present physically, being present emotionally. Now is not the time to bring up another problem that occurred before, when the crisis has already occurred, and exacerbate the situation. You want to remember, if you can't find an alternative, you don't have to do it all alone. You want to learn from those experiences and apply it to future incidents as well, and have a crisis plan. That could include siblings, it could include even pets, emergency contacts, and the like. Have your child's documentation, all of their information, important documents, and the like, in a secure and easy to access location. And remember, every crisis will pass. Remember, you can say this to yourself as well. This too will pass. Remember, when we spoke about being able to change things that you can, if you cannot avert the crisis, remember that it will eventually pass. You don't review the incident until everyone is in a good emotional place to discuss it. And then plan what that recovery period will look like for you. Now, we've heard this term before, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's real for caregivers, but why? You want to think of items or different types of situations that can cause trauma impacts for caregivers, like behaviors. Behaviors can make someone hard to deal with. And living with someone who's easily startled or has nightmares or even avoids social situations, some person who is explosive or has several triggers that are easily found, or either threaten suicide or any other behaviors that can really take a toll on the family. Also, having psychiatric hospitalizations or either Baker Acts or law enforcement involvement, those are items that could cause traumatic impact as well. Marital changes, conflicts between parents, and how to best rear the child. And some parents having differing ideas on how to handle these situations or how to nurture the child in all aspects of his life. And some can even deny that there is a problem. This can be traumatizing as well in the marriage and even the people in it and those that surround that marriage and cause battles. Think of siblings. Families need to help siblings cope with their brother or sister's trauma and making them feel safe as well. Those vicarious traumas have actually been seen, and especially having those issues of educating extended family, those members and even outsiders who will come in help them to understand about the child's disability. And this education is crucial. It's crucial for others who may not understand exactly what the child is experiencing or either how to deal with those situations. And even with that education, sometimes family members can still be judgmental, and that causes possible estrangement within the family. We would hope that it would not be, but we want you to be cognizant of the fact that these are things that possibly could happen. And even cultural trauma pieces. We're not accepting or not understanding the needs of a family member with that disability can be a traumatizing experience. Some cultures don't accept the concept of a child having mental illness or believing that these individuals are perhaps possessed or need to be isolated, or other beliefs which are clearly misguided. But we want you to understand PTSD for caregivers is real. What does it look like? There's no resource on what that definition is clearly. However, there are several symptoms that we can list for you. And this is one of the things that we want you to realize and understand if some of these items are happening with you. They can include unexplained fear, irrational thoughts, social isolation, marital strife, self-doubt, insomnia or nightmares, physical symptoms as well, headaches, stomach aches, anxiety, depression or hopelessness, extreme fatigue, issues with concentration, lack of self-care, and finally, shifts in your mood. Now, here are several self-care tools that we want to offer to you. Remember to attend to your own needs. Take time off without feeling guilty about taking time for yourself. accepting support from others, and acknowledging your feelings. You want to learn and use those stress reduction techniques, such as meditation, even prayer, or yoga, or Tai Chi, and attending to what your healthcare needs would be as well. In addition to getting proper rest and nutrition and exercising regularly, even if it's only for 5 or 10 minutes at a time. Taking that time for yourself without the guilt helps you to participate in pleasant and nurturing activities, such as reading a good book or even taking a warm bath. Seeking to accept and find the support for others and counseling if needed, or being able to talk to someone that you trust, be it a counselor, a friend, or even your pastor. Identifying and acknowledging that your feelings are real and you have the right to feel all of them. Remembering that you can change negative ways that you view the situations, and always set a goal to manage your own self-care. So let's take a moment. Here, if you want to take 5 minutes, this would be a good time to stop your video, take 5 minutes for yourself, and then start back. It's not very hard. We want you to get in the mindset that you can take time for yourself. So start this video, place it on pause, set an alarm for 5 minutes, and we'll see you when you return. So how was that? 5 minutes isn't so difficult, do you think? Let's move on. We want to help you become connected with resources, remembering that those community resources are there for you. However, you must seek them. Share resources with those who are in your same situation. It can be very, very beneficial to you to have a group of people who are like-minded, people who are going through those same situations, things that have occurred to them, and understand the issues that you may have occurring with your loved ones as well. Sharing resources is one of those great ways to build community and help those loved ones, in addition to helping yourself with your own self-care tools. This is a one-pager that we can send to you at the conclusion of today's presentation. It's understanding your child's IEP and individualized education plan within a web crawl, with our new and improved FND, Family Network on Disabilities website. These are one-pagers that can be sent to you, or you can access through our website, that has complete and concise information, such as the info that we have given out today on this presentation. These ESE resources are available at your ready, digitally optimized, don't take up much space on your hard drive, but give you the complete and concise information that you would need on a vast free library of different topics, especially those topics that will help in finding community resources for your loved one with disabilities. Thinking in terms of those resources, especially for your loved ones who have mental health challenges, NAMI is a good place for you to peruse and understand what some of those resources in the community would look like. NAMI, N-A-M-I, stands for the National Alliance for Mental Illness. And this is a great website for you to check out, understanding what their content is and how you would be able to find more support and understanding about those mental health issues that you deal with. Also, you want to talk about the state of mental health in America. This is with Mental Health America. This is another website that would be great for you to do a web crawl in finding those resources closest to where you live and finding that help and support as well. These are more resources. We want to make sure that you have the support, you have those resources at your ready. If they come from us at Family Network on Disabilities and the Family Star Program, or from one of the organizations that we partner with, your caregiving and the support and resources that we are able to provide is the key. We want to make sure that you are aware of these resources and the ways that they can impact your family. Take a screenshot if you are watching us from a digital or a handheld device, or you can simply watch the comments, and this would be a great way to find the information that you would need and keep them in your healthcare binder or files if you are keeping them in a digital files. But these are national mental health resources that you can access to find the support that you would need for your loved ones and yourself. And with that, we want to say thank you again on behalf of the Family Star Program, which stands for Support, Training, Assistance, and Resources, and our 3 regional PTIs for the state of Florida with Family Network on Disabilities. Thank you again for joining us. Please make sure to follow us on our social media channels and our website at www.fndusa.org. And with that, at the conclusion, should you need to give us a call, you can do so at 1-800-825-5736. Again, that number is 1-800-825-5736. We will post an evaluation. Please let us know how we may be able to help you in the future with more resources, more support, or all of those different types of training and assistance that we have available here with Family Star, the Family Network on Disabilities. Should you have any questions, we will post an email address that will make it easy for you to ask questions in a more anonymous fashion. Remember, at FND, we are here to help. And with that, we want to say thank you again for joining us for part 4 in this 4-part series of parenting a child with mental health concerns. My name is Latasha Bird. I've been your facilitator today. And remember, FND is here to help. Should you need any more information at the conclusion of this presentation, please do not hesitate to contact us at a later time. Thank you so much. We hope that you are very well informed. And remember, at FND, we're here to help. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.